Hello, Internet. I am Arman Babu. I am your GM for our game of Apocalypse Keys, a game about solving mysteries to stop the apocalypse and monsters battling their own inner humanity. Steve, over to you to introduce us.
Oh, yes. Hello. Hi. Totally prepared for this time, of course. I'm Steve, aka Sassy Pants. I'm the guy who's here most of the time. This is our final session of Apocalypse Keys, but it's also our final TTRPG AP on this channel, which is because everything's moving over to Pantsless tables soon. So that's exciting. We've got a bunch of really cool people here today. Really excited about all the chaos that we're going to accomplish. Plus, Pantsless Pride is happening end of June. I have almost finalized all the DMs. Just need 2-3 more things to do. And I will reach out to people confirming stuff hopefully by tonight so that we can get player applications out. But yes, that is all that I've got for today, I think. Yep.
All right. And while you are in talk to the internet mode, would you like to introduce your character?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's do it. I am playing Screwdriver, who is the Omniscient. It is a really cool homebrew thing made by Audi from Illicit Peanuts, which is they're a bunch of really cool people doing a bunch of really cool things. And basically the Omniscient is like this old entity who's been around forever, and in current day and age, their entire consciousness has been put into a computer, basically a giant computer from like the 70s. And when this show, when we started our adventure, all he had was literally a scooter with a tablet on it to move around and maneuver and see stuff. And over the course of the last 3 sessions, Screwdriver has gained a whole new body, has learned how to work with nanotechnology, and apparently has the power to use their just will things into existence. So that's exciting. Yeah, that's me. That's the vibes.
Excellent. Martha, tell us about Dr. Genome.
Hey, I'm Martha. I'm playing Dr. Grayson Genome, and I've never addressed it before, but his middle name is also a G. Just getting that out there in the last episode. That's a big twist reveal to start with. His full name is Grayson Garth Gnome. So he is a doctor, a freak, a homebrew class made by our DM. He is the Scalpel class, and it is just a delight to be an absolute maniac.
Denver, how about you and your character Delphia?
Hey all, I'm Denver, and I'm playing Delphia, who is the Surge, which is one of the core classes in the Apocalypse Keys handbook, but that doesn't mean it's boring.
Not in the least. And last, we have the last, played by Amir.
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Amir. I go by he, him, and I am playing the last, one of the official classes of the game, and the character that goes by Simona, who is the last of the elves, and a little peek behind the scenes, probably from the Unseelie Court, as I talked with our GM, because apparently she's not the last of the elves, as we discovered a couple of sessions ago, but probably the last of the Unseelie Court.
Intrigue is definitely happening with our monsters. In fact, after witnessing the repression of monstrous sides at Mercy Mansion, and seeing it reflected at the division itself, our group of apocalypse stoppers have decided that maybe it's time to usher in an apocalypse of their own, or at least a semblance of one, to bring back the lost Fae, as they've discovered a ritual, or at least the glimmerings of a ritual that might help them bring the lost souls of the Fae back into new, fancy cloned bodies. In the midst of this, however, they are investigating another possible apocalypse, known as the Parasitic Library, a library that attaches itself to our dimension across various different times and spaces and steals knowledge from the world. Responsible in part for the Dark Ages many centuries ago, and is now possibly gearing up for something worse. Our team entered the library, dealt with a very mysterious and confusing librarian who attacked them, was quickly destroyed, and then returned in an all-new form. They are also accosted by a former division agent known as Jenny Fable, who appears to have been here for many, many more decades than she ever thought she would. And with that, you all find yourselves deep in the heart of the stacks of the Parasitic Library, with the newly incarnated librarian standing before you all, wondering why you all look so very shocked. What would you like to do?
Shit. As someone who has lived so long, Screwdriver doesn't really understand how to comfort someone who's been plucked out of their time. So he's literally just his response is just, well, shit.
You can attempt a reveal your heart. It's not just for PCs. You can attempt it to NPCs as well if you want to try and make a sincere connection and bring Jenny some comfort.
Oh, okay. I think if anyone has seen Doctor Who, the 13 Doctors episode where she's trying to comfort Graham, but she doesn't know how to do it because she apparently lacks empathy now, which is like a whole other plot point that I don't want to go into. fuck that. But so that's basically Screwdriver. Like they're there. I know this is hard, but it's okay. People who, it's fine. You've not missed much. There's only just been a few 100,000 technological marvels and cinema and people can talk on phones that are smaller than their hands or bigger than their hands, depending on what the new iPhone is like. But it's fine. You're okay. And everyone who it's possible everyone you've known is probably already dead, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. You can come into the world fresh. Nobody really knows who you are now. So that's you can reinvent yourself. Think of it that way.
Start over. Fresh start.
So, through this attempt, what of your heart do you reveal in this when Jenny turns to look in your eyes, or what passes for your body's eyes? When she looks at you, what does she see? What sincerity? What part of your heart shines through? What's being revealed?
I think it's Screwdriver's need to connect with people, so much so that he's willing to change everything about himself so that people will like him. That's the reinvent yourself thing that he spoke to her about.
Alright, so go ahead and spend whatever darkness tokens you would like and make your first roll of the session. No pressure.
I don't remember how many darkness. I think we had fuck all left, right? Because we used all of them. No, wait.
It should be on your character sheet if you've been marking them down. I don't think you have any. You've marked down your XP all here, but I don't think you have any darkness tokens.
This is what happens when you don't play for 3 weeks. That's my fault. I think there was something about a bunch of us got a bunch of darkness tokens, right? I think I had 5 or 7 because it went over the edge, and then I gained a ruin for it.
That was, if I'm remembering right, that was all the way back in session 1.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I don't have any.
Session 2? Session 2.
Yeah, when we...
Could I assist in some way?
Let's see. I believe you could,
So, Screwdriver is kind of going, espousing on fresh starts and starting over, and kind of in the beats in between what Screwdriver is saying, the doctor will be like, and there's the Fast and the Furious series. Let me explain it. And the first one, they didn't really talk about family very much, but it becomes a huge theme throughout. It's some of the finest work in cinema, and you have so much ahead of you. Vin Diesel isn't really prominent in the first few, but he gets there, and once he gets there, it's very good. It really enhances the experience once Vin Diesel is a big part of it.
Okay. Oh, right. Yes. Do you spend a bond on this? That what would help or hinder? Do you have a bond with Steve?
I'll spend a bond.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So you spend a bond with Screwdriver. Yeah, Screwdriver. You go ahead and make your roll, and with this bond, you can either add a +1 or -1.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I rolled a 9.
Okay.
Can I save the bond from being used, or is it done?
We can say the bond is saved.
Let's go.
For later. So you do not spend a bond after all, Dr. Genome. You just add in handy Fast and Furious trivia. All right. So on an 8 to 10.
That's just for me.
Yeah. Your heart reaches theirs, and you get to choose one from the list I am putting in our super secret chat.
I think I'm going to take the bond.
Okay, so you have one bond with Jenny Fable as her eyes they sort of soften for a bit, and then she nods, and she sees how much of yourself you're willing to change, and she reaches out, and places a hand sort of on your upper shoulder for just half a second and squeezes before pulling back, and she says, "You know, I did join Division to see incredible, wondrous things. And I guess this new world you speak of, well, I guess that's exactly what it is. I'm at least grateful that, fine work at Division is still being done, from fine monsters like yourselves who can, hopefully show me, around. But yes, please, I'm dying to leave." And she turns around and sees the librarian there. This time in this version, a younger woman with dark skin, but still wearing tweed, still wearing the same horn-rimmed glasses. Her long wavy hair sort of tied up in a bun, as she says, "Will you be leaving, Jenny, our library? It's a shame. We've quite enjoyed having you here." Yes, Simona, you have something you'd like to do?
Simona has been this whole time just standing there with her sword out towards the librarian and asking, "Give me one reason why not to kill you." It's like just like standing there ready if it makes a move towards anyone's skull.
Well, because I have done you no harm. I'm a mere librarian. I don't understand why you're so hostile. But is your sword on fire, by the way, or is it just a sword?
I think it would be just a sword now.
Okay. I do. She says, "I do ask that you be careful with weaponry in the library. We don't want to harm the books after all. Although I do admire the make of that. Is that an antique? Might I be persuaded to have you donated to the library?"
Not a chance.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Jenny says, "Enough of this. I just want to leave. I just want to get out. How do I do that?"
Could I sift the facts?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I want to discern if. Okay, well, I think I have 2 darkness too. Maybe I won't use it, but I really want to discern if the librarian or the library is the trap here. So.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and make that roll.
Yeah. 8.
Alright, an 8. That is perfect. You get to ask those questions from your list.
Okay. Let me get.
2 questions on that list, which is very handy.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Great. What caused this?
Okay. So when you say okay, yeah, go ahead, ask your second question.
Sorry. What caused this, and what can I use here to escape?
Okay, so the first question, when you say what caused this, do you mean specifically the library being here? Because you are aware that it is Screwdriver who brought it to this dimension in the first place. Or do you mean Jenny being trapped here, first of all?
Yes. I mean Jenny being trapped here.
Well, given what you have a theory, at least from what you've heard from the librarian speaking, and it's developing in your mind, and you believe that it is possible that Jenny has unique and valuable information in her mind, and the library, if not the librarian necessarily, but the library as a whole, came to see her as a valuable tome. Maybe one that walks around, sure, but a library book is a library book.
And can I change my second question? I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Based on that, could I change my second question to what can I use to get Jenny out of here?
What can you use to get Jenny out of here? Well, you would have to essentially trade, or donate an incredibly valuable secret, in sort of like a book exchange. The library does allow people to take books out of the library, but only for an exchange of, equally valuable or, knowledge.
I'm gonna have to give up my memory of seeing Hamilton. No, okay. Okay, so it's like take a book, leave a book. Okay. But before that exchange happens, before we take Jenny and leave this place, we should try to figure out who is locking information away here, who is taking information and sealing it here from Division.
Mm-hmm. While you are thinking about this, suddenly around all of you, the books, several books, like just in the immediate area, like about 20, 30 books fly off the shelves, fly into the air, and the pages explode from their bindings and swirl around you. You are all caught in a tornado of paper. Some of it cuts you at the edges. They are vicious, and a flurry of paper cuts just around the edges of you. Some of you are fine. Some of you are immune to things like simple paper cuts. But for those of Jenny Fable is definitely, she screams as this is happening. The librarian, for those of you who can see her, just looks on, unperturbed, as if nothing is happening. And as suddenly as they started, they stopped, and the pages just sort of flutter down to the ground. I have 2 questions for you as this moment happens. Who sees a terrible truth laid bare amongst these pages.
That might be Simona, because she has now become one with the book. Earlier in our adventures, so that she might be seeing the patterns and the letters and the words and everything more easily than she's ever had.
And what's the secret that you see?
Ooh, so I get to invent a horrible secret.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, that's a dangerous power you've given her.
I frankly have enjoyed giving you guys dangerous power and should have been doing it more often.
It's okay, we'll save it for season 2.
It's true. I think Simona sees that Jenny isn't remotely the last person who was trapped here for such a long time, and in particular, she sees that this library is probably the last vestige, holds the last vestiges of all the lost civilizations and worlds that came into contact with, or that our Earth came into contact with in some way, and that the library itself caused some of those like ends of the worlds and ends of the of peoples and civilizations, not just dark ages, but just like did not help. In fact, made it much worse.
You see information that contradicts what history knows, as you see it flutter past, from times past and times yet to come. You see information that could have saved lives, that could have saved civilizations, all stored here in the library, stolen from people who should have known them, who should have known better. The stealing of knowledge has led to much death and much destruction over the years. But it is, before you can get like a proper glance, there are too many pages here happening all at once before you can grab at something. One other person here sees something else. What future event is written out in these pages, framed as an inescapable tragedy?
Sophia sees Roz becoming a harbinger.
Holy shit, okay.
You see a prophecy. You manage to actually grab this page, and you see a prophecy with it's part prophecy with there's also a drawing, an illustration of someone that you recognize to be Roz. This person is older, definitely. Roz with sort of like aged lines across their face, wearing an outfit that you don't quite recognize but appears to be regulating their power. And their arm is much larger than a human arm and is clawed and is reaching through a door of pure white light. And this prophecy details that this is how the world ends. And the way it's written, it seems inescapable. It is, most prophecies are vague. They say this might happen. You've seen a lot of apocalypses and prophecies in your time. This one, less vague, more certain. Roz is there. With their clawed hand, they reach through the door, and all the world will end in fire. With that, one tick of the Doomsday Clock has passed. There are 3 ticks left before the end. The pages all flutter down. The librarian sighs and she says, "This will take ages to clean up."
I'm still not convinced that you should let her live or leave to do anything. So still standing there. Simona's still standing there with her sword out, and yeah.
She looks calm. She hovers a little bit forward and goes right through your sword, insubstantial. As she says, aside from since I cannot persuade you to let go of your sword, is there anything else I can help you with in the library? Perhaps finding something, or I could grant you a tour. I could take you to the lecture hall, the observatory, even the loft, the upper floor, which is just a delightful place to spend time reading a good book.
I'm absolutely fascinated by the prospect of the observatory, but I will say that we are on a timeline, so I think if you could take us to any information here that was sent by Division directly, maybe recent entries that were brought here by Division.
Yes. The division wing. Yes, please follow me. And Jenny grabs your arm, Screwdriver, and she says, "What? No! I thought you were taking me out. Why are we going further in? This is how I lost myself. I thought I would do research while I was stuck in here, and the more research I did, the more I forgot why I came here in the first place. We need to get out, or we might never be able to."
I agree. We do need to get out, but we came here on a mission, and like you said, Division's missions are the vibe. We're here to investigate why the library is here. He doesn't tell her that he's the one who brought it here, and also to send it back to wherever it wants to be, so it's not siphoning resources from Division or information from Division. Really,
you are speaking very logical things in a very calm and reasonable voice with as much sympathy in your tone as you can muster. Nonetheless, Jenny looks betrayed. And that betrayal quickly turns to fury and contempt as she pulls back and turns away, and not even looking back towards you all, as she says, "I'm going to find my friend, and we are going to get out of here, with or without your help."
Jenny, if you go back into this library by yourself, you have absolutely zero chance. With us, there's a slimmer chance, but if you leave now, you will have absolutely no chance of ever leaving this place. I guarantee you that.
She turns to you, there's a sneer on her face. She says, "Do you think you're the first people to wander here through the library with promises of leaving? Every one of them has been the same. Every one of them thinks they could find just a little bit more information before leaving. And every one of them has stayed and died here."
Jenny, I have no doubt that we are not the first people who thought that they could survive this place, but I guarantee you we are the only people who can.
Give me... This is going to be a... You're not really unleashing the dark here. She's going to need something a little more. You're going to have to really maybe open up, reveal something of your heart here. Or unleash the dark here. So you can either be kind, and have a chance to get her back, or keep her with you through intimidation.
I'll reveal my heart. I'll say, "Jenny, this is my son. I cannot remain here, and these are my friends, and we cannot remain here. There is no shot that we do not succeed based on the information that we have and the absolute certainty that all of us possesses that staying here is not an option. I know that some meandered in here hoping to investigate, hoping to research. Our entire aim is to liberate some materials that are here that shouldn't be and to get out. We don't want to study. We don't want to research. We don't need to be here. We don't want to be here. We want to get out. And we will.
All right, go ahead and make
I would
your
like to assist.
Okay,
I would like
spending
to
a bond.
assist.
How
Yes.
do you assist?
Besides, I've been here before, and I've gotten out.
Okay. Jenny looks completely shocked at actually at that. Tell above the table, let me know. Is this is this deception?
No, because this back when we last session we had Delphia was one of the ones.
Right, yes, we've established that you went on a mission here. Yes, you and yes, I remember this now.
So she is being
so
100% honest.
yes. Yeah, go ahead and make that roll though.
Okay. 9.
9.
Yeah.
All right. So, I will tell you. So you definitely get. You convince Jenny to stay with you for now. She doesn't look completely trusting, but you do get to choose something from this list. Either go closer. They soothe your heart as well. They teach you something important, or they give you hope.
What were the first two again? I'm sorry.
They're in the chat. Just
They're in the chat. Cool.
Yes, you go. So the first one is you go closer. Second is they soothe your heart. Third is they teach you something important, and lastly they give you hope.
Whoa. I think I will, they give you hope.
Okay, so, she comes to you and she says, well, she doesn't exactly come to you. She says, I mean, she walks up to you, but then she looks down at Ned and says,
My horrible son.
yes, I'm not certain how much I trust the rest of you, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give up unless this little guy is safe in the library. And Ned just sort of waves and goes, hello. We are normal.
My normal son.
Um,
In case I haven't said it lately, Ned is a homunculus that is created of machinery and some body parts, so really looks awful.
And with that, she turns, she takes a step back and says, alright, we need to, I'm not the only one who's been trapped here. I have 2 allies. We need to get them, and then we can quickly do whatever it is you need to do.
Okay, we can concede to that. We will find your allies, and then we will go to the division wing. So, can the librarian bring us to these other people?
I do not trust her, but there's no way of getting rid of her. They're in the lecture hall. If you'll follow me. And the librarian begins talking. Oh, yes, the lecture hall. We have not had any guest lecturers in many days, but there were times when we have. And goes into just this long, sonorous history about the random captives of this library who, for some reason or the other, chose to make use of the lecture hall. Perhaps out of desperation, perhaps out of boredom. You're not quite sure. The audience was as sparse as guests usually are. You get to the lecture hall, a large circular room filled with tiered seating and decorated with warm wood paneling and depictions of unknown constellations. Although, unknown to most of you. You, Simona, actually recognize a fair few of these constellations. These are stars you've not seen for many years, but they are the constellations you see underneath face skies. In here, making a sort of haphazard campsite, of sorts. There are just sort of books, sort of torn up and laid out, and sort of seem to be used as makeshift beds. There are a couple of jackets and like random scraps of clothing that are used as blankets. And there you see two people very familiar to all. Well, one is familiar to all of you. The other is familiar just possibly to one. You see Esther here, looking younger than when you had met her. When you met her, she was in
shit.
possibly her mid to early 30s. Now she looks just a little bit younger. Her hair is much longer, and her eyes are sunken deep. It looks frail. The other person you recognize, however, is much older, perhaps in their 50s, wearing this strange sort of black and ceramic armor of a kind. Short cropped white hair, a little wrinkled. They turn towards you, and it is Roz. As soon as they see you, Delphia, their jaw drops, and they go, Delphia?
Ross, what are you doing here?
Why did it take you so long? I thought you would save me.
I'm so sorry.
They come rushing up to you and wrap you in a hug. It's painful because whatever strange armor they're wearing is rough. But and they're stronger than you've ever seen them before physically, as they wrap you up in a tight hug, and they break down into tears. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I I needed to know. I wanted to understand, but I just got trapped here. It's been so long. It's been so long. I thought you forgot me.
I would never forget you.
And they pull back, and they sort of they caress the side of your face, and they're like, you're so young. How are you still so young? You have a question, Doc.
What is going on here? We have not been here for that. This does not make. I know this is kind of a warped reality, but this doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be here, especially not for this long. We haven't been here that long.
They growl at that. As Roz says, "Oh, you're fucking right. We shouldn't be here."
Okay.
Ross, remember your breathing exercises.
Yes. Sorry, it's
I
been
know.
it's been so
I'm
long.
sorry how I still look so young. Remember, I was young back in 1840. Whatever changed me, I just...
Of course,
I never wanted...
you've told me that. I just forgot. I haven't known you for that long. You seem so far away, but I thought of you every day. I thought surely you and your team would come rescue us. And you did. Look, you did. As soon as you saw I was missing. But why did it take you so long?
Something's not right. This does not add up. Something is not right here.
Is there a way that we can test if this is like the actual Raws or if this is the library fucking with us?
Yeah.
That would actually be something within the power capability. So it would be possibly, there are two roles that can be made here. You can unleash but actually no, it would be a power through darkness both for Delphia because they share a connection of the Surge's power. Or it could be a power through darkness through you, Screwdriver, the Omniscient, making use of your powers of knowledge and foresight and prophecy and the.
Okay. Denver, do you want to do this or should I?
I've got darkness tokens I can spend for this, so I'm gonna spend 2 darkness tokens on this for. Oh dear.
Okay.
That's a 13.
No. Uh-oh.
So you
I
are
think
on
this is
the
the
edge of disaster.
That's all, folks.
Yeah,
So
this is
you
like the
can
first time we've had one that's gone over. Usually it's below.
You're on the edge of disaster, so you can mark it. You feel yourself losing. You reach out with your powers to verify that this is Roz, because they are the only person in any world right now who could accept even a spark of the power in the same way. And you reach out and you verify this is Roz, but suddenly you feel your power being pulled or being pushed toward, like it's almost like when you're trying to pour water from a bigger vessel into a smaller vessel and it's starting to fall out of control. You are more power than you intended is starting to pour over. And you don't know what effects that's going to happen, but you are going to need to mark a condition or have a power surge right now that is going to flow directly into us.
Oh. Oh. Fuck it, we ballin'. Power surge, baby.
You feel
Fuck it,
the
we
power
ball.
being pulled from you. And this is a little bit like what you do when you share your power with Raws to make yourself mortal for a day. Only much, much less balanced, much less graceful. You feel your power being torn from you. And Raw's eyes, they flicker black. Sparks of black energy flicker out from their eyes, from their hands. The rest of you see light dim in the area around these two. And Roz gives a long, deep sigh, almost of pleasure, as they say, it's been so long since I've held this power, I've almost forgotten what it was like. Breathing exercises. And you, Delphia, cannot feel your power at all. If you wish to use your power from this point forward, you're not sure for how long, it is going to be a power through darkness roll. Because right now you can't feel your power at all. Usually you were able to pull it back when you need to. Right now, you reach out, there's nothing. You haven't felt this way, this hollow since before your transformation.
Would that mark a ruin for me, or?
I'm gonna say narratively, this marks a ruin.
Yeah, and the
And
rest of you guys just
Jenny,
see her
yeah, go ahead.
crumple. She just kind of crumples in on herself and is breathing hard. She does not look good.
Roz immediately falls to her knees, puts the hand on your back, and goes, "Oh no! Are you okay? Are you hurt?"
If Delphia falls to the ground and Roz puts a hand on her back, I immediately start to square up.
It is so far. It is just kneeling and a hand on Delphia's back, and nothing more than that. There's clear concern in Roz's face, even though their eyes are black and sparks flicker out erratically, sometimes from their shoulders, sometimes from their knee, basically wherever their angles, elbows, their head, and points of extremities, black sparks occasionally shoot out. But Roz looks concerned.
I don't think we can trust you right now.
I can't feel it.
What do you? I don't know who you are. Delphia, tell them they can trust me. Well, tell them you can trust me.
I can't feel it. I can't feel anything.
I think you should take a step back.
Roz immediately does so. With your tone, Roz seems to get the feeling that they should put their hands up as they do so.
Well, don't do any of that. That's fine. I think we should give Delphia a minute to breathe. I think we don't know what's going on. We don't know why you're here. I think Delphia is experiencing some discomfort, and I think we should give her a minute.
Would it help if I told you why I was here? Oh, how I got here?
Any explanation?
It was I don't know if you remember, Delphia. It was so long ago, but it was my last memory of Earth. That day when I took you out and we went around the town and we played basketball and had dinner in that cafe, and I just lost control. I just wanted to learn how not to do that again. I went to the division. I told Director Minola about our situation, and he said that he would lead me to division records in the library where I could just learn how not to do this again, how to help you, how to help us. And I went in, and Director Minola said he would come back in an hour, and he never did. And then when I left the room, everything was different. It was, I think, from what I understand, the library sucked the room I was in into itself, and it never let me go after that.
So, the library has been taking valuable information from Division and trapping it here, and the library found you and trapped you here.
Yeah.
So Roz is valuable to Division somehow, or just valuable on the whole.
Or maybe the room that Roz was in contained the valuable information, and Roz just got stuck. But why has Roz aged when Jenny has not?
I have been here for a long time, and Jenny is not a young person. Jenny's definitely been here if Jenny says she's been here for, well, Jenny believes that she's been here for only a week, but I mean she's not a young person, but she says she's been here for a week. There are many possibilities here. Either Jenny's memories of being here were taken from her, or she's not been here that long. Roz seems to remember being here for decades. But she comes from essentially your time period.
None of this makes sense.
You do notice at this time that the librarian is no longer here. And Esther speaks up at this point, and she says, I'm sorry, but this seems this does seem a little I don't mean to intrude, but who are y'all?
Yeah,
I'm Esther. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I think Simona was the whole time this was happening. She was looking at Esther, trying to see if there's any recognition at all in her face, and trying to figure out based on the clothes and the demeanor if she was from this century or the last century, or which Esther she was, and the history of the Esthers.
It's kind of hard to tell just from her clothes. She is wearing a very simple gray robe. It's torn in a couple of places. It's a little grubby, but it's a little era non-specific.
Gotcha. Simona comes forward and grabs her hand, I think, and almost like kisses it, and says, "My name is Simona. We have actually met before. Maybe not this iteration of you."
She pulls her back and her hand back, and she says, "Well, I appreciate that you may have. I'm sorry, I have no memory of meeting you, but I appreciate that maybe we have a connection. It's a pleasure to meet you."
Pleasure.
Esther, as I've said, are you Jenny? Are these new guests to the library? And Jenny goes, No. None of us are guests here anymore. We're getting out. All of us are getting out. Right, Ned? We're getting out? Ned just sort of...
Very normal.
Don't know why that was directed to Ned. Don't know why you trust Ned more than me. But I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Ned also, for all of Ned that looks human, he also looks exactly like Marcus.
Yes.
But yes, we'll be getting out of here. We should find that. I would love to know why Roz and the room that Roz was in was taken, but we do have to try to figure out what information was taken from Division.
So I'm assuming that the room that Roz was in had the information that the library took. So, hey, Roz, do you remember which room you were in when you were sucked into the library? Or, do you remember where you were in the library? I know it's been a while, but...
Roz nods. I can take you there. Yes, I can lead you there, but I just want to check on Delphia, make sure Delphia is okay first before we do anything. Delphia, are you alright?
I'll be alright. I don't understand any of this. I'm just hoping we'll find answers. And why did you contact the director?
I didn't want... You were away on some mission, and I didn't want to stress you out. I just wanted to study up on this. I thought it would be a nice surprise. I think. If I could go back and never have done that, believe me, I wouldn't have. I've had many years to regret what I did. I don't regret why I did it, but this is not a fun place to be.
No, I don't suppose it would be. Which is why we need to get what we came for, and we need to get everybody out.
They reach a hand out to help you up. Still keeping just enough distance so it doesn't look like they're touching you. Like they have like an eye on a side eye on the doctor, but it still reaches a hand out for you if you would like to take it, to stand up.
Yeah. As she's looking up at everybody, let's remind everybody, Delphia is like maybe 5 foot nothing. Right now, she looks fully human. Like her eyes are the hazel green that they were the day she was changed.
As they are pulling you up, your hand starts to feel cold and then burn all at the same time, and you all see black energy sparking out of Delphia's hand. Delphia pulls back immediately. You fall to the floor, and you see Delphia's hand. You see Roz's hand extending into these. Darkness is extending from these hands into like this claw-like appendage that is sparking outwards. And Delphia goes, Roz goes, Delphia, what's happening? How breathing exercise? Delphia, I've forgotten the breathing exercises. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do.
5 things you can see. 4 things.
I see my hand. I see the door. I see, and from the side of their head, a spark of dark energy reaches out and destroys a wall filled with fake constellation. Where the wall is destroyed, it disintegrates into small little pieces of paper that rain down on the ground. It's not working, Delphia. It's not working.
Look at me. 5 things you can see.
Eyes, your hair, the walls, the seats, the seating, the wood, and that strange creature there. And there's just a wave in your general direction. You're not sure if they're talking about the Ned or about Screwdriver, but they move on to here. I hear your voice, I hear my voice, I hear... There's another surge of energy, as this time a bolt of energy goes from their hand to the roof, which collapses. More paper rains down.
Deep breath. 4 things you can hear.
Your voice, my heart pounding in my chest. My voice, and they stomp the ground, the ground, and my breathing's very, very heavy right now.
Yes, that's very good.
And you see the claws start to withdraw, begin the flickers of energy stop. Which is when you hear the voice of the librarian saying, I apologize, but vandalism to the library is not allowed. Please stop this at once. And you see the librarian as you saw her before, but she is larger, twice as big, standing maybe 12 feet high, and her voice is deepening, and the spectral translucence that she had is now turning to opaque darkness as she leans over all of you, going, stop this at once. And immediately Roz reaches out a hand, and dark energy from a large claw hits the librarian. What do you all do?
Sophia is going to try and grab Roz's hand.
Alright. You grab it. What do you do? What do you intend to do?
Keep breathing. Keep breathing. It's going to be all right. And then she's going to give the librarian the dirtiest look. This is not how you handle someone who is having a panic attack. You clearly need more education.
The librarian is a little misshapen now as the energy has taken off half of their head, leaving just shadows beneath. And they reach down towards Roz. What are the rest of you? With a large, slow, ponderous hand.
Simona would just cut off that hand.
Okay, go ahead and roll to unleash the dark.
I have +2 darkness. I think I'm gonna use only +1 though. Yeah, that is a 7.
A 7. Do you have a bond you wish to spend?
I do. I have a bond with Delphia.
Okay.
I think I would spend in this case because I know how much Delphia cares about Raz much more than she's cared about, Simona or anyone else in the world probably. And yeah, she would spend that bond to make that 7 an 8.
Okay, and with an 8, go ahead and choose 2 from the list. You can get past their defenses and click the condition, get what you want from them, avoid reprisals, harm, or cost, gain the upper hand from now, expose a weakness or flaw, or confuse them for some time.
Choose 2. I think avoid reprisals, harm, or cost is definitely what Simona is going for. And yeah, just get what we want from them, which is to go away and leave us alone, and not try to harm anyone in the group, no matter how many books they might kill.
All right. So you slash right to the librarian's hand, and it falls off with a solid thunk onto the ground, and remains there instead of fading away. The rest of the librarian, from the wrist upwards, though, immediately disappears.
And Simona picks up the hand and says, just like literally picking it up and putting it on her shoulders, because Simona is now big as well because of the physical changes that she's gone through. And she can just pick it up and carry it like prey or kill the animal. She would have when she was on wild hunts or something like that. And she says, "I think we have plenty of time, but I might be wrong, and we should head to whatever the information we can gather on this run."
Yeah. Roz gets up and they're shaky, and they say they don't quite meet anyone's eyes as they say, "This way. Let's go this way." Yeah, and as you all head out of there, Esther and Jenny look extremely shaken. But you, Sophina, you feel the fingers caress your arm as you carry it out of the lecture.
Romantic.
You
is it Morse code? Is it trying to communicate?
From what you know of Morse code, it is not Morse code. It's steady. It's the same. It's not affectionate. From what you know, of at least of human caresses, or even fae, but it is steady. So Roz leads you all, refuses to, throughout this journey, refuses to look at you, it sort of brushes off any questions, as they lead you, through the stacks. And as they do, sections of the shelves start to move and drag themselves into new positions. The library is changing as you are walking through it. So, I have 2 questions for the group. Who becomes separated from the rest? Alright. Sophina. Simona. Simona, thank you. You, as the library shelves move, you're in the rear, basically, making sure everyone's safe, looking out after the group, but suddenly, there's a shift, and you walk through, and the group's gone. You don't even hear their footsteps. You have no idea where they are. All you see is a long corridor of endless books stretching way out into pure darkness. You turn around, and it is the same thing. One long passageway stretching out into darkness ahead of you and stretching out behind. You try to peer through the bookshelves, but the shelves are all solid wall at the back. Another question. What new danger is now free?
It feels a little bit like Raw, like, because I don't know if it's reacting to, if it's just like shifting on its own, or if the library is kind of reacting to Ra's. But in my head, it feels like Ra's might be kind of like taken as like the heart, as like some kind of a magic link to the library.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. You notice that while all of you are quickly, you all see that this library shifting, and some of you notice that Simona is no longer with you. Roz doesn't seem to notice at all. They just continue walking. In fact, at certain points they reach. Some of you are stumbling because the ground is shifting beneath your feet. Sometimes the ground will shift where Roz is about to plant their feet, almost as if in expectation of where they're about to turn. And this is what you all see as the library comes alive in a way you haven't seen before. This is another tick on the Doomsday Clock. There are 2 ticks left before the end.
Really quick, I forgot. But as the library is shifting and shit's going weird, can I look for a key?
Yes, go ahead and grasp keys.
So,
you make, spend darkness tokens and roll.
I got a 5. A 5! Good job. Absolutely fantastic.
Do you have 2 bonds?
I have 1.
You have 1. That is not going to help. So, you can choose to mark ruin if you want to. So, what it says here is you find more than you were ready for. You may choose to mark ruin to uncover a key, but in doing so, the keeper will reveal how you become closer to becoming a harbinger.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so you mark ruin. And while everything's shifting, the librarian suddenly reappears, is howling, is furious, and reaches towards you all. And your nanotechnology screwdriver immediately reacts this time. A static collection, the staticky collection, a buzzing of metallic tiny beings just sort of splotches out in a tendril from your shoulder up towards the librarian and begins to spread, covering the librarian entirely. The librarian tries to grow, her spectral form getting larger and larger, but your nanobots are moving faster and faster until they close around the librarian on the other end and pull back into you. You, Screwdriver, suddenly feel... You've been feeling smarter and smarter since you've inhabited this new bug. But this feels like a massive upgrade. You feel, if not the knowledge, the weight of centuries and centuries worth of knowledge. Or I guess in a term more easy for you to understand in this form, petabytes and petabytes worth of knowledge. You have What is the equivalent of an internet in your head? And more. It is currently more than you can process. You're aware that the information is there. It's like in a zipped folder in your mind, but getting it out of that folder is going to take a little bit of time, but you feel suddenly heavy. You know so much of what has been stolen from the world. You don't even know where to begin placing your awareness. And with that, you reach out almost absently, without even thinking about it, knowing the exact right place, the exact right place to do it. You reach out, and from one of the shelves, you grab your next key, which is hold on, just a sec. I have gotten the wrong page here. Yes. You see a worn scrap which contains black and white photos of redacted faces. The faces have all been crossed out. But you look at the that's on the inside, and all of the words have been redacted to the point of uselessness. But you look at the cover of this, and it says Librarians of Division. And that is your key. You now have 2 keys. And with that, we will take a short 10-minute break. And welcome back. You are 2 ticks down and 2 ticks away from the door to the apocalypse opening. It is another door that opens now, however. For all of you except for Simona. Simona, you've been separated from the group. What do you do? You're on mute.
Sorry. Simona just looks around, looks to one side of the corridor, to the other, looks up, just like, what is up? And looks down at the hand that she's carrying and says, "Why are you like this? Why do you do this to the poor people that come into your library and just want to live their own lives? Why are you like this?"
The hand.
What does the hand?
The hand doesn't really
react
in any way. Just continues stroking down your shoulder, and you hear the voice of Esther just saying, "I'm sorry. I'm not really responsible for any of this."
I did not realize you were here, girl. I was talking to the hand.
Is that? I don't think it can hear you. You didn't you didn't cut off its ear, but what do I know? Sorry. And here's the strange thing: you definitely looked ahead and looked behind you. There was no one in this corridor with you. But now Esther is here. She sort of brushes her hair back, just looking, just still shaken from everything that happened in the lecture room earlier, and says, I don't... The library's never done this before. I don't see a way out. Do you think you can smash through the walls?
Only one way to find out. And Esther is just going to grab the hand and try to smash through the bookshelves and the books.
Go ahead and roll and Unleash the Dark.
Unleash the Dark. I think she'd use one darkness for this roll as well.
I don't know.
The last darkness she has. That is a 9.
A 9. Perfect. Go ahead and pick 2 from that success list.
So, Unleash the Dark. Get past their defenses and inflict condition. Get what you want from them. Avoid reprisals. Gain the upper hand. Expose a weakness or a flaw, or confuse them for some time. So I think expose a weakness or a flaw.
Okay.
And based on that, maybe I'll choose the second one, if that's okay.
Okay, so so it's expose a weakness or flaw and get what you want from them.
No, I'm like thinking like let's see what the weakness is and then see what the second choice can be.
All right. So you slam through. And you see. Well, not quite see. As you slam into the library, you suddenly notice that it slams back. Not physically. The wall breaks through and you find yourself in a new passage. But in your mind, as you move through these books, some buffet past your face as you just slam through, almost as if reaching out towards you. And the caress from the librarian's hand on your shoulder gets a little firmer. And your mind, there is a split. You have two memories of what happened in the lecture hall. You have the memory of what you definitely know to be true of what happened, and a memory that is clearly false but also exists concurrently, that shows the librarian calmly and quietly asking for peace in the lecture hall, and everyone just attacking the librarian unprovoked. You can write down that as a key. A memory split into two. One true and one false.
Gotcha.
I'll put that into your mystery map.
Is that... Thinking out loud, is the library alive? Is it making up memories to protect itself? Is it like a living thing? I'm
It's certainly
so
a possibility.
curious.
But you, Simona, have one more thing to pick from the list.
Yes, and she'd help the little girl through the hole that was created, and I think she would leave the hand in the other corridor and drop it there. And as does the girl take Simona's hand?
Yes. Not not the hand you dropped, but the hand you're offering.
Yeah, the offer in help. Simona would not let go of the hand. She would draw her, very near so that she can't leave. That Esther can't leave, and almost like in a hug, face to face, like eye to eye, and ask her, why are you doing this to us? Why are you taking this shape? And why did you do that to us with the librarian? Who are you? And the second thing that she chooses is, I get what I want from them.
What is it that you want?
I want to know who placed that memory inside Simona's head, and also who is creating this image of a girl who can jump between shelves and between corridors, and nobody notices her, and until she wants to be noticed.
Okay. All right. So remind me again what your questions to Esther was as you pull her in close.
Why are you doing this? Why are you taking the form of this girl and trying to trick us like you did in the library earlier?
Well, Esther looks afraid for a fraction of a second before she says, "Well, Simona, I am here because it is the safest place to escape to after what y'all did to Mercy Mansion. I am in this form because I did not quite survive leaving Mercy Mansion. sort of jump-started my whole rebirthing process all over again, and it's been a couple of years since we last met, but not quite enough for me to be the same age you last saw me. I was frankly hoping never to meet you again. As for why I've been tricking you, well, I think I can trust you, Simona, but I'm not quite sure of the others. You've been to Mercy Mansion before, and things went off without a hitch. You spent your time there, you left, nothing got destroyed, no one got killed. But your friends, the moment they show up, things go south. Very quickly, very dangerously, and I don't trust them. Now they're here, and the library's doing things it has never done before. Roz is acting like I have never seen them, and they've been here longer than I have. I don't know what's going on, but I feel your friends are at the heart.
I feel that my friends are only trying to help me, but there's an outside factor going on right now. You might have been here for a long time, but it's only been a week for us. And the reason why we came in here is probably the reason why things are changing so quickly. And there is nothing, there's nobody else who could have come and tried to stop it, or at least divert it. Which we still can, I feel. There's still some kind of force in these walls. She looks back at the hole to the other corridor. Is that still there, or is it starting to rebuild it?
The hole is starting to rebuild itself, but you notice that you seem to be in the same place that you were before everything started shifting. And you hear footsteps far in the distance up ahead, getting quieter as you stand here. Esther says, I'm not sure your friends are the ones who are preventing whatever's happening. I'm pretty sure they're causing it.
Well, we do have a tendency to do that sort of stuff, unless we put a stop to it first. But we won't find anything out unless we're there with them, so we might as well follow along.
So you walk a little bit, you follow the sound of footsteps, and you find yourselves caught up with your friends. They don't seem to have noticed you were gone. They turn around and go, "Oh, Simona, Esther, there you are," says Jenny. And you're back with the group. The rest of you have reached a small room which you all recognize to be a standard division filing location. Simona still hasn't rejoined you, nor has Esther, and you don't know where they've gone. You close the door behind you, as Ross closes the door behind you, as you're still waiting for, but says, look, if I'm, Simona seems, I don't know where Simona's gone, but she seems like she is resourceful. I'm sure she'll join us, and if we hear them on the other side of the door, we'll let her in. But in the meantime, I'd rather have the door closed for our safety. You, Simona, and Esther are in the meantime just sort of walking along this corridor with your friends. You see that the doctor says, "Interesting place, isn't this?" And your friend Screwdriver says, "Oh man, this is a disturbing place. I cannot wait to get home."
We would never say that. You know it in your heart, Simona.
But yes, the rest of you you are in this, and as you've been walking, there have been these, almost as if on the periphery of your hearing, you've been hearing these voices calling out from the book saying, "Read me. Please read me. It's been so long since eyes have looked, since knowledge has been shared. Read me. Please, won't you read me?" When you
I
enter
like
this
when they
room,
play hard to get.
when you the books are all there. You can reach out and read one at any time. Do you do so? Especially now that you're in this room, the voices are a little louder now that you're staying in one place.
Where do we begin?
I don't think I would read one.
Where do we even begin to look?
We have to. We're trying to gather information about what was lost to division and see what valuable secrets were sequestered here.
All of you hear different things. The doctor, you hear two voices, one book bound in green leather, one book bound in red. Both of them are calling to you saying, "We know your name, Doctor. GG Gnome, we can hear you. Read us. We have important knowledge for you, knowledge you're seeking." And then you start to hear them arguing. A voice from the green book says, "I can help you take care of Ned. I have information that you need for Ned's well-being." And the other voice says, "I can help you save everyone in the apocalypse. The trauma does not have to remain with them. You can store it safely. I know how to do that. Ned, think of Ned. Think of the people. Think of Ned. Think of the people." The voices just start arguing with themselves, and you see them quivering next to each other. Delphia, you hear a book, a simple tin, almost a pamphlet, that is quivering in itself. It says, "I know how you can get your power back and keep Roz from harming anyone with it ever again." And Screwdriver, you hear nothing. This is you. As far as you don't, as far as you know, there are no voices coming from anywhere but the insides of your own head.
Okay. So this is. Are we in the
You're
division
in.
wing?
You're in a small room, maybe about 10 by 5 feet, and most of it is taken up by shelves. This is very standard division filing. There are there are a couple of shelves with books, but most of them are just standard division manila documents, just sort of piled in together. And Roz is speaking, saying, this is the room I was in." When I first came in, it was connected to division, but now it's now it's here. Let me look for what I was reading before everything changed. Jenny's sort of just standing by the door. She's sort of kneading her hands, just sort of nervous as hell, and constantly looking towards the doorknob as if she wants to make a bolt for it.
Roz is gonna go for a book.
Come on.
Is Roz going
Oh,
for
is
a book?
Roz
'Cause
going to go for a book?
I would love to watch Roz touch the books first.
Roz is going for a bunch of files, just folders. It takes a big like plastic box of folders and places it on the table, on one of the reading tables that's in this room, and starts looking through it. As they say, yeah, Delphina, they have extensive files and theories on how your power works. They put a lot of studying into you. Doctor, you have actually contributed to one of these files here, on theorizing about how Delphia's powers work. What, in summation, does your file about Delphia say?
I think my file on Delphia is some of like the first work that I really like tried to get right with like knowing that it impacted an individual. I think it is a very like in-depth file about the nature of spirits and how they withstand time and how their power kind of comes from their transformation from life to undeath, and it also comes from like time itself. And so I feel like Delphia has been accruing more power the longer that she has been alive. That's like the hypothesis that I drew.
Right. And that is one of the many, the half dozen theories, that fill this file. Most of this file is carbon copies of mission reports for every mission that you've been on with Division, as well as whatever pictures and official, recordings they can, and, transcripts that they can put in.
Some of these I don't even remember. Oh, that's a very unflattering drawing.
It's more of a caricature. It's it's supposed to be fun, kind of like the big head, and they do it on boardwalks sometimes. I thought it would be fun.
Oh,
I'll just and now it's gone. Never had it. It was never there. I think at this point, it feels kind of like I'm kind of drawing a blank as to like kind of what the next discovery is, because it feels like we want an apocalypse to happen. Information has been like taken here. I kind of want to look for something that looks like a private, like a top secret file, like something, like can I grasp keys and just like try to get any information? Cool. But first I will approach the two books that we're calling out, and I will pick up the green book that was I'll pick up the red book that was like the How to Save Everybody book. I won't touch it. I will just like put my hand where, like right below it, where the shelf is, because I don't want to touch these books. And I'll say, the thing about dedicating your life to science is it's about experimentation. It's about finding the answers for yourself. And while you are doing me a great disservice by insisting that you can just give me the information, I would like to come by it through natural discovery. And then I will have my nanites destroy the book. I will send nanites to destroy that book. And then I will go to the book that says it's going to save Ned. And I will say, and you do a disservice to my beautiful son by assuming that he won't be cared for of his own merit and my own intelligence in his creation. And I'll destroy that book as well.
Ned picks up on your tone and spits on the green book as it is being destroyed.
That's right. Throw hands. We ball. Okay. And now
destroy
I'm going to
all books, says
That's
Ned.
right. Burn the books.
Oh no. Yes. So, go ahead and roll to grasp keys.
Okay, cool. That was a joke. I don't believe in burning books. Okay.
You monster.
My bad. Oh my goodness, I'm getting such good rolls. 8.
8. Okay. And let me double check. I believe that means you just get yourself a key, and yes, you can uncover a key, and the keeper will tell you what it is. As keeper, I can tell you, that this is you go to the back of this room, just wandering a bit, just looking for something that's not like anything else, and you see that there is actually a small locked box here. With your genius mind, it is the work of minutes to sort of pick your way through it, and It opens up, and you see a small, dusty journal. And you pull it out, and you open it up, and you start looking through the pages. And to summarize, it is the account of someone known as at the front. It says the Diary of Jenny Fable. And it is a slow account of her many days here. She was first sent here as a division agent to essentially, much like yourselves, stop an apocalypse. She, as an Omen class monster, she and the rest of her team entered the library and spent days there and then months there, and started to slowly lose their minds and memories. There was a phoenix who just sort of lost her fire and became a statue that now lies up in the loft. There was a yeti that essentially tore open a notebook and tried to rewrite it, and in doing so rewrote himself into the pages of this book. There was a werewolf who decided that he was free from his curse since there was no moonlight here in the library. And one day he walked into the shelves, and she never heard from him again. All of these moments and memories, but soon deeper into this thing, you see that her mission was to find a harbinger and stop an apocalypse. One was imminent, and you basically skim through the pages, and at the end, you see that there are still a number of blank pages that are currently being written. And what's being written now, slowly, are the words, "Entered a division room with Roz. Is more modern than I remember. New Omen class monsters here too." And it just, it goes on sort of describing the basic details of the room, how big it is, how wide it is, how many shelves, how many books there are. The ink is writing itself. So yeah, that is your key.
And it looks like the ink is writing itself. It doesn't look like this is something that Jenny is like magically cataloging, like with intention to preserve it, right? This is something that the library is doing.
Jenny at the moment looks like she's practicing Roz's breathing exercises to keep from just exiting the room.
Okay. So I don't think that this is necessarily taking a lot of division information as much as it's taking division agents and taking that knowledge and kind of building its backlog. It's not like taking like files, it's taking agents and kind of stealing their information.
You do have 4 keys at the moment. You could talk with the others and attempt to unlock Doom's door if you can.
Yeah, Simona was about to.
Yes, Simona, what are you doing with the rest of the group?
Think these through.
Yes, as you are pondering that, Doctor, I will tell you that, Simona, you are walking into, the rest of the group says Roz leads you into a small door. All of you have to crouch a little bit to enter this room. Especially Screwdriver, and especially you with your larger form. You are filled in it is a cramped room, filled with an Escher-esque array of pipes, all of which are just going off in different angles, some twisting around each other in ways that do not make sense to your eyes, and start to hypnotize you and entrance you a little bit the longer you look at them trying to make sense of it. When you pull your eyes away, you see that they all are spreading out from a massive, boiling furnace right at the center of this that is just sort of away at the heart of this. And embedded in the whistle of the steam, in the thrum of the boiler, you hear a message. What is it saying?
Look behind you.
You look behind you, and you see Esther with a crazed grin on her face as she whispers,
Oh,
"Finally." It's gone in a moment as she sees looking at her. She goes, what are we doing here, Roz? I thought you were taking us to a, into Roz? And you turn around and you see your friends, your allies, start to fade from existence. They're turning a little transparent and a little darker. The shadows lengthen, and then the shadows reform themselves into letters. You see colors of who they are, their clothes, their skin, their hair start to fade away, and you can see through them until all that is left in the shadows and little letters that fall into the floor and begin to crawl away, much like the letters in a ritual book you saw in Mercy Mansion not so long ago. It is just you and Esther, and as you turn to look behind you, the door that you just entered was slammed shut, and then disappears, leaving just the wall behind.
Okay, it's time to roll revealing the Doom's door, or whatever the move is called, I think. Unlock Doom's door. So we have 4 keys.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the difficulty?
The difficulty is 4.
Okay, so it's just a straight roll.
What is your theory? You are still going to have to, before you can do this, you have to connect the keys to the facets of the mystery. And I'm going to do something a little strange here. I'm going to basically say that you have worked with each other enough as a group that you can sort of have a free-form discussion, even though Simona is separated from you. You have a free-form discussion knowing what each other probably would have said if they were here.
Plus, I can basically talk in people's minds, so...
Oh, actually, yes, you can connect. You have just chosen not to, apparently, Screwdriver. You can reach out and touch Simona's mind.
No, I think this entire time he's been processing all the information. So that is why I have purposely been quiet for a bit, to let that... yeah. So yeah, Screwdriver this entire time has been processing petabytes of information that has been transferred into his being from the librarian, I guess. And finally just wakes up, I guess, after being on what's the word? He was in sleep mode. I don't know. Yeah.
Sleepwalking.
Basically, and connecting brains together. I have no theories. I'm going to be honest. Can we potentially unredact the faces in the scrapbook? Is that possible to do it, or no?
I would say when everyone tries, they don't really manage it. But the second you take another look at the book, you think about it for a couple of seconds and realize, oh, yeah, this is easy. You immediately start to redact some of the faces and some of the names, and you recognize these as people from Mercy Mansion. People from much, much older photos, going back almost all the way to the family. Almost, but not quite all the way to the family.
What the fuck? Also, I'm also remembering, I think session 2, or maybe early session 3, we had a thing where Simona was told that we would find Esther in the library.
That is true.
Which is like a whole other thing. So, the librarians of the library are all people connected to the mansion, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it safe to say that Esther potentially could also be a librarian? This version of her, anyway?
That's certainly a theory you can put forth. So to remind you, before you can roll Doom's Door, each of the discovered keys, each of the facets of the mystery must be connected to a key. However, the one facet you don't need to connect the key to is the identity of the person who brought the library to Division, because that is Screwdriver themselves. So the other three facets of the mystery are the Harbinger, the Door of Power, and the secrets locked within the library. So connect one of the keys to that in any way to interpret as you see fit. Each key that you connect to a facet will you can add a +1 to that when you make the final roll to open to unlock Doomsday.
Okay. So I have a theory regarding the memory that's split in two. Where they overlap would reveal where the Door of Power is.
Hmm. But Simona was the only one who got the split memory, and it was only of that situation in the viewing room or reading room or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
So that would mean it was in there.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's why I'm
I mean, that's an interesting theory. You can connect. Yeah, you can connect the. If you would like to, if the group agrees, we can connect the memory split in two to the Door of Power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Done.
I think the journal and the scroll of prophecy both relate to the secrets locked within the library. How it collects its information, like actual journals writing themselves, and then the prophecies was pointing us towards how the Mercy Mansion was also tied to this whole thing, because it detailed our last mission, and
I think that the scrapbook full of those faces, when it uncovers that once it actually uncovers that these are former people who were connected to Mercy Mansion, and just Esther's general tone, I think that also is connected to the Harbinger. I think that the former connectors to Mercy Mansion I think it's all kind of linked back to Division, and it kind of feels like maybe Division is manufacturing its own apocalypses and using its own stations and employees to manufacture it. And, if we're gonna say that, big brain, super zoomed out, I think that Division is manufacturing its own apocalypses in a very similar vein to what Mercy Mansion was doing, which was siphoning energy and power and selling it. I think Division has a bigger monopoly on energy and power that it's using and distributing and selling in super unsavory ways. So I think that those employees and those faces connected to Mercy Mansion are the Harbingers, because they were employed by Division to be so.
Okay, so oh yeah, go ahead, Simone.
I just had one more observation that would probably happen if we succeed on the roll, and that is as Screwdriver is unredacting the text and the photographs in the scrapbook, the only face that he doesn't find in there is Esther's, even though she's been throughout the Mercy Mansion's history, basically, for the last 200 years. So that is like the indication of the Harbinger.
Okay, so you believe that, if this theory is correct, that Esther is the one who is the Harbinger? Okay.
Finally.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you have 4 keys that you have connected, and you have 4 you have basically connected it. You connected each one to a facet, and this is a complexity 4 mystery. Which means that you will be rolling 2d6 for your roll. Here's my question, Simona, do you want to grasp keys one last time while you are in this room, in this with this boiler, with this strange furnace, with all these pipes? Do you want to grasp keys one last time to add one last clue, before you finalize this theory and unlock Doom's door, or do you want to make the roll now?
I don't have any more darkness, but I do have potentially places where I could have picked up darkness as we went along. So let's do that first, because I'm gonna need darkness. I feel soon enough. My thinking is I asked someone to tell me of their past, which is I talked to Esther about it.
Yeah.
So that gives me 2 darkness. And I have embodied a condition that affects me. And one of the conditions that affects Simona is cornered. So she was kind of like...
Yeah, for sure.
Either cornered or despairing when she grabbed like Esther, and especially in that corridor before we got through, she was kind of feeling that as well. So that would mean 4 darkness for this session.
Yeah.
We just make a
I
note
could
of that.
give you 4 darkness tokens. Yeah, absolutely. 2 each. Go ahead. And are you grasping keys?
I think she would, especially as those letters were like fading out, and maybe grabbing one last moment of clarity from them. So yeah, she'd use 1 darkness to roll for this key grasping. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, that is a 7, and it's perfect because then I can use the bond that I have with Esther.
That is perfect.
To realize that,
Dramatic.
to lead me to that 8, and
What particular memory with Esther really helps you uncover a key here?
The loss of innocence, like seeing her when she was a child, before knowing that everything that Simona knows now, and seeing that lack of innocence. Not that Simona, has any connection to humanity in that way, that she cares about their specific emotional states and stuff like that. But she knows children. Elves and the Fae know children and know the value of that kind of innocence. And that was never there. Never really there. That is what kind of stood out to her the first few, the first time that she was in the Mercy Mansion.
Alright, so you noticed that
She didn't realize that until now.
Yeah. From that memory, you remember in the innocence that Esther used to have, that she also loved to play games, including hide and seek around the mansion, but she also really loved to steal things, and that there would be a certain she would like to sort of sneak things a bit under her clothes, under her robes, and you look that memory surfaces in your mind specifically because you see a bulge sort of near her waist where you realize something's hidden. With a quick swipe of your sword, a book falls out, and you're able to pick it up quickly and take a look at it before Esther, as she shrieks in outrage, tries to grab it back, but you're able to sort of look through it, and what you see is a choose your own adventure book with Esther on the cover in the library, shrieking at a sort of scary looking version of yourself, Simone. And you start looking through the books, and it says to try and it's described what just happened in a very simple childlike style. And at the bottom, it says to try and grab the book back from Simona, go to page 38. To try and reason with Simona, go to page 42. And you flip ahead and you go through his books, and it says various options of things that could happen. It describes a moment that has not happened. And you flip through the book. This book is written childishly, but it is filled with branching timelines.
That's why I wasn't thinking that Simona might be the harbinger. Because this is too powerful for her, for whatever version of her. This is something that we haven't met, but all of these clues connect to that something. Like, whoever is creating this book, it is not the library, but it's not, Esther.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the connections with the clues still remain, and this clue also connects to the harbinger.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah.
So having realized this, and I assume telepathically having told the others about this as well.
Maybe just screaming into the boiler.
I don't think that it's Esther either.
Ooh, who do you think it is?
I don't think that Esther is the harbinger. I think whoever is above Esther, there is I think the institution of the division is puppeteering. I don't think that it's Esther herself. I think that she is a device by which the division moves.
Okay. And with that, go ahead and roll 2d6 plus 5 minus 4, so 2d6 plus 1.
Before we roll, really quick, I think Screwdriver is going to reach out to Simona and just basically cutting off the connection from Dr. Genome and Delphia for now, and just reach out to her and be like, hey, so I learned some information from the library that I would like to share with you first. But if you're comfortable with it, we can bring the others in as well. Right now, it's only you and me talking. It concerns the elves and other things. Would you like me to tell you alone, or do you want the others involved as well?
Because Esther was trying to lead Simona to doubt you and, Delphia and Dr. Gino, that makes Simona, trust you more. Because everything has been, flipped around all the time. And the two memories and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't think she would be, let's exclude the doctor and Delphia from this. She would enjoy the info dump, whatever way it ends up being shared with everyone.
Okay, perfect. So, 4 minds connected. I learned some information about the elves. It's been stored here in the library. I'm assuming the library ate it a while ago, so nobody at Division also remembers. But, Simona, I need you to sit down for this. The elves are...
And Simona, this is going to be tricky because Esther is trying to claw at you, trying to get the book back. And you're just sort of holding her off with one hand. But yeah, go ahead.
The elves are not dead. They are gone, but they're not dead. They willingly chose to leave, and they left the elves behind who they thought could show some sense of humanity. Whether they told you or not is something I don't know, because it's possible you forgot because the information was stolen by the library. But we could bring them back, but the only way they will come back is once humanity is destroyed. So by letting this apocalypse happen, they. Yeah. Oh, also, I know how to make clones, but that's a separate thing. We can talk about that later.
This impacts Simona enough that she wouldn't be the one rolling for the for this particular apocalypse.
That is fair.
How does
You're
this-
processing this big information.
How does this impact the deal that Dr. Gino made with the other elf? It was to bring them back to life, but they're already alive.
Mm-hmm.
So does it mean
The doctor starts screaming into the sky. It's like reaching out to their Fae liaison, like liaising with the Fae, like trying to call upon that connection and be like, no, the deal is off. The deal is absolutely off. I am not doing this. This is ridiculous. This is a breach of contract, a breach of trust. I thought we had something going and you lied to me. Just like screaming into the sky, trying to touch that connection with their Fae liaison.
it's possible the Fae liaison forgot as well, or they didn't know?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's
Irrational. They're just being irrational and horrible.
And it sounds like the doctor can't roll for the Doom's door either.
You don't hear anything back from your Fae liaison, doctor. Instead, what happens is you begin to imagine what it would be like to go back on a Fae bargain. And you imagine yourself the things that can happen from the things you've heard in stories. One particular story starts to swell up in your mind. A story of a mortal who broke a bargain with the Fae. And the Fae says, "So as was broken, so broken you shall be." The person was enchanted to become a window pane. And every morning this Fae, and as you do this, you start to picture yourself there. You start to picture yourself first, condensing your arms going until you are square, and then your body crystallizing,
He's laughing.
being unable to breathe. Yes, you feel like a window pane, and suddenly you're not there anymore. You are there in the heart of the story. And every morning, Raha comes down, smiles at you, sort of checks her reflection in the mirror, and it is the brightest part of your day because she's so beautiful and so lovely. And she picks up a hammer and smashes you.
He starts laughing uncontrollably.
You can't laugh.
And he gets
You are a
he gets
window
up-
pane.
a
You
human man.
you look around
Like the,
and you can't. You are just a window pane here. That is where you are. You realize that was a memory. You are now a window pane here in Raha's home. The next morning she comes down, smiles at you, smashes you again. In the morning you are whole again. She comes down, smiles at you. And this is your life now. You broke the pact. This is what has become of you. A week goes by. 2 weeks. You wonder what has happened to Ned. You wonder what has happened to humanity, if her schemes have somehow caught another unwilling dupe. Another couple of months go by. And you know, because every time Raha comes here, she makes a singular mark on the opposite wall to let you know how many days you have been here. Soon, the wall, which was originally pure white, is completely red. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of days have passed. There's no more room anymore for marks. And then when she comes down, she takes a yellow marker and makes a new line and smashes you again. You begin to forget any other life. All you know is that the pain, the agony of being smashed over and over again. 2,708 years pass. She looks up, she smiles at you, and for the first time in all of this time, She doesn't smash you immediately, but the hammer hovers, slams it, and it's a light tap against the pane. And you open your eyes, right back at the moment in the library where you were in this room, contemplating what would happen if you chose to break a pact with the Fae.
Dr. Grayson Gnome shits his pants. There's not even a moment that goes by where it immediately shits his pants. He does one of these, does an immediate squat and stretch, and starts to kind of get back into his body because this is the worst thing that's ever happened to them. And then they kind of start doing the mad scientist muttering to themselves, and they go, I know exactly what the impacts of hallucination on the mind. I know the impacts of torture on the mind. I know the impacts of these things and these things, these things that connect and these things that are beautiful. But I will say this. I will say this. I will say this if you're listening to the sky. There is no, as far as I'm concerned, there is no pact to break. The pact that I made was that the elves would live again, and they never died. There was no pact to begin with. I am not trapped in this bargain, and if you try it, there will be consequences. I am a man of science, and that has always been my greatest strength. He's just fully comforting himself at this moment. It's very self-soothing. And then he goes, and I also, if anybody notices a weird smell in the air, I'm pretty sure Ned shit his pants.
This is the first, as you say, this is the first time you look down at Ned, and you notice Ned is quietly weeping.
Oh no! Did Ned see that?
Don't know.
I covered all 4 of his ears.
The Ned continues to cry, but is doing so with sort of almost as if he doesn't want you to know he's crying. He's not very good at hiding.
I'm trying to soothe Ned. I take out one of those little pouches of applesauce and I start feeding Ned.
Mm-hmm. He begins to eat it, the packet and the packaging and all.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the mechanical whirring and the of his body processing the food. I think
Rosha is the harbinger now. My mind has changed.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, would you like to change one of any of the there's the roll still needs to be made to unlock Doomsday.
Yeah.
So if you feel like the clues and their connections work in the moment, you may go ahead and make the roll. Or you may change it before making the roll. And of course the big question is here, are you still making the roll, Doctor, or is someone else doing it?
I think Screwdriver has to do it. Sophia's done the last one.
Mm-hmm.
We do not want to repeat what happened.
All right, Doctor. Screwdriver. It is up to you then. Are you ready to roll 2d6 plus 1?
No, but I'll do it.
That's the most intimidating I've ever made 2d6 plus 1 sound in my career as a GM. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. It's an 8. Oh!
It is an 8.
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
With only 2 ticks down.
Yes.
You put all this together. And Screwdriver, this is especially perfect for you because you realize, absorbed the librarian into your mind. You do not have you do not hold the knowledge of this entire library. You realize you could. If you stayed behind, spent a couple of years here, but what is time to a parasitic library? Apparently nothing. But more specifically, you realize that everything your allies have theorized with you together is correct, and you know exactly how to stop this, where you need to be to stop this. You reach out with your librarian's knowledge, and you begin to stroke the walls, knowing exactly what they need, and you whisper words in a long dead and long forgotten language from a civilization that no one remembers. The door pops open, leading Jenny Fable to shriek. But in front of it, the shelves rearrange themselves in a straight path towards what you know to be the heart of the library. Simona, you see Esther pull back and reach around her neck as she says, I don't know what to do anymore. You see her step back further and further and further into the shadows.
I'll stop her. I'll grab her hand again.
For as you reach out to do so, you reach out to her hand, and instead of her hand, you're holding on to someone else's. Just as she stepped into the shadows, just as you lost sight of her, you reach out, you grab her, and instead you're holding the hand of someone much, much older. And you realize that you recognize this man. You were the one who had the memories of Esther dying and being reborn again. This is Esther's father, her first actual father. The Reverend Elias Smith, the founder of Mercy. He steps out of the shadows, and as he says, I truly was hoping that it wouldn't come to this. But I must protect Esther. And just as he's about to say something else, the door bursts open as the rest of you, the pathway has basically, you see a long hallway leading down to this door. The hallway condenses and the door opens, and the door out of the room you are in now directly connects to this room with a large furnace with strange pipes that are branching out everywhere. Which you know, Screwdriver, this is the heart of the library. And Esther was about to claim it for herself. Now, however, you see this, not Esther, but Simona holding on to the hand of a much older, taller man dressed in a suit straight out of the 1800s. What do y'all do?
I think Simona would try to throw him into the boiler. And she would say, like, I think you've done enough to protect the girl.
He's about to say something when you grab him. And there's no time for words. As you all see Simona pick up this man, this frail, very mortal appearing man, thrown into this furnace.
Oh.
You hear his screams as he is burned alive, much faster than he should be, even for the temperatures you feel. And you hear the hiss and steam exhale almost in a matter of deep satisfaction. It's a sigh of satisfaction as it burns and consumes this man whole. And then it slows, the sound of fire quietens a bit, and you just hear that slow you, Delphia, you see, well, you still hold, you held on to that page that described Ra's opening the door of the apocalypse, of ending it, of the world ending in fire. In your hand, the page there's a spark on the edge of it that spreads to the rest of the page. There are no ashes left behind, but that spreading fire reduces that page to wisps of smoke that disappear. You inhale, and some of those strands of smoke go straight through your nostrils, and you feel deep inside your chest, this small glimmer of your power return to you. You realize that you could take your power back from Roz if you wanted to. But you also realize that unlike the other times you've used your anointed one, you don't have to take the power back.
As much as it would be nice to just rest, unless she knows for certain that Roz will not be consumed, she has to take the power back. For their sake.
How do you do so?
Delphia will gently grab Roz's hand. I think it's time.
Roz turns to you and says, time. Oh. I'd almost forgotten what that face looks like. And she looks at you with a measure of fear and of sorrow and of empathy. It's you've seen it countless times on their face, when a younger version of their face, every time they've had to give the power back to you.
If I knew for certain. What am I saying? None of us know the future for certain. At least for right now. Let me lighten your load. One last time.
She takes her hand, they take your hand and hold onto it, and they look at you, and you notice that black tear on their face. The first time it happened, and you remember the first time it happened, just days ago for you, but decades in the past for them. And that is the main thing you see as you pull the power back into yourself and take that burden upon yourself once more. As always, you see the first thing you see, though they always try to hide it. When the power is gone from Roz, they feel a split mixture of relief and rage at the power being taken from them. But it's gone. And it is your burden once more.
Let's get the fuck out of here. Pardon my language.
Screwdriver, you know that whatever apocalypse was nearing has been averted. More than that, you know how to get since you have absorbed the librarian, there is no one to stop you from exiting this library. You control this the passageways as you wish. You know two more things, however. Screwdriver, you know that the library is still hungry, is still going to feast on the world in this time, in times in the future, in times past. You know that it's only going to get hungrier. And you know that you can't necessarily stop it. You can't, or at least you can't simply tell it not to. You could, however, make sure your friends are safe. Lead them out. Lead out anyone who has been trapped here in this library. And spend the next couple of years, maybe centuries, becoming it. You would have freedom beyond what you knew even as a cosmic being, for you had knowledge of everything. You are omniscient, but only it was tied to this universe, this dimension. You would be a god of knowledge across the multiverse. There would be nothing beyond your grasp to know.
If I... Fuck. So, if I choose to stay, can I stop the library from devouring other things, or will that still happen regardless?
It would happen for a while, but as you would become more of the library over time, and it would become more of you. You would absorb its hunger, but it would absorb your morals, your belief systems, and the knowledge that you have. You would essentially become each other. You, at that point, you may or may not be able to control its hunger. But the part of you right now that wants to stop it, that part will still exist. Whether it's a part of you that you can control, you don't know. When that hunger is.
So the options are either I leave and the library does whatever the fuck it wants, or I stay and I still don't guarantee that the library will stop doing what it's doing.
That's true. And it's possible that there might be other ways to stop the library at this point. But as of right now, these are the only two options you know about. And once you leave this library, you don't know in what time period and at what place in the world you'll be able to return to it. Because you've absorbed the librarian and you have the librarian's knowledge, but the librarian has never, ever left the library.
Okay. So, here's what I'm going to do. I have an idea.
Okay.
Leading everyone to the door. And as they're about to leave, I have something to do here. I don't know when I'll be back. But I will do my best to come back to the three of you, because I did not know the meaning of family before I was part of this group. And I am very grateful for everything that I have learned. And I'm going to basically shove them out the door and close it. And I'm going to use my ability to change the way the library operates.
Okay.
I'm going to use "you cannot kill me in any way that matters," and I'm going to will into existence the fact that from now on, when the library wants to learn something new, it can just make a copy instead of removing it from its existence.
All right. Go ahead and make your roll.
I have... Okay, cool. Let's do this. It's a 5. It's a 5.
It is a 5. Okay, so...
Well, let's think about the places where you could have gotten darkness throughout this game. Like...
Yeah, okay, I have one bond.
Like what I did earlier.
Right, I have one bond so with Jenny, so I could use that. Okay. That's one. Mm-hmm. When all the information from the library was when I absorbed the librarian, could that have given me some darkness?
Let's see. So you gain darkness tokens when you give into your curiosity and reach where you shouldn't. That has not technically happened here. When you give into your insecurity and pull back, you occasionally give into security, but you didn't quite pull back. You have not asked someone for help or guidance here that I remember?
Me?
Uh,
He was asking me if he should share the information about the elves with the other two.
Okay, yes. However, here's the thing. You cannot use darkness tokens after the roll has been made. So I will give you.
I thought you would forget about that.
I might have remembered that a little too late, but you have not foiled me yet. I will give you some darkness tokens for that. I will say you have you can choose between 2 to 4 darkness tokens. How many do you want? However, your roll is still a 5.
Yeah, I'll take 2.
Okay, so you have 2 darkness tokens. So on a 5, what happens if this fails? You cannot kill me in any way that matters.
This says I lose control of the lie. The keeper tells what happens next. Prepare for the worst. So,
Okay, tells you what happens. And the lie is that the library can simply make a copy. Interesting.
yeah. So basically, he was trying to change the way it operates right now. The information it takes is removed from the world. So he wants to make it in such a way that it's like a living document. So it's like a copy of what exists. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
Can I do a shenanigan? Can I do a shenanigan?
In a bit, the screwdriver left you all behind to do this. So this is just Screwdriver's moment. So Screwdriver, you blink and you realize, haha, copy can just be made. And then you're looking at yourself. A copy of you. And behind that copy of you, you see forming out of letters and shadows a copy of Ned, a copy of Dr. Genome, the slow silhouette of Simona. And before you can react, before you can say, what is this thing? What is happening? The world fades around you. And all of you, you just had this big dramatic goodbye from the Screwdrivers, like, I don't know when I will see you next. And Screwdriver's immediately right next to you all.
No.
What?
Oh no. Okay, look. I know I said I would stop fucking up, but I may have fucked up again.
What did you do?
And honestly, that was so quick. It's a new record.
And we don't know the extent of the fuck up. Like, just like...
I was trying to change the way the library works, and I think I may have somehow made copies of ourselves back in the library. Hey, it's fine.
Well, that's just funny.
If it comes back to bite us in the ass, it comes back to bite us in the ass. It's fine.
Funny. Why is that funny?
Because
All in a day's work.
if you think about it, we're still trying to get out, even though we're already out. Oh shit.
So you sentenced us to torture for how many years? Oh god! And does the memory save that we had for ourselves? Does it apply to the copies? Are they going to start to forget and someday meet someone else who comes into the library and who knows?
You don't know. However, you are back, and you have with you Jenny Fable and Roz.
I have a question about that.
This is there's an answer that's coming actually. About if you're asking specifically about Roz.
No, Esther.
Oh, about Esther. So I will get back to you in a second about Esther. Roz, and Delphia, the two of you are just sort of, you've stepped out of the room, and for the first time in decades, Roz has stepped out of the room, and they look around, and there is no more library. It is just now an empty division hallway. And coming down that hallway is Director Mignola and a younger, unwrinkled, unaged Roz. And Roz, the younger Roz, sees you, Delphia, doesn't seem to really notice the older Roz at the moment. Says, "Oh, Delphia, Director Minola told me you're on a mission. I just came here to do some reading about,
One moment. And she is going to walk over to the director, haul back, and hit him in as hard as she can.
a bit of surge goes through you, and Mignola is thrown backwards, hits a wall with, there's no crack. And you've learned to listen for that crack, because you know that you've gone a little too far. But there is a loud thump as he falls to the ground. Before, go ahead and say what you're about to say.
You promised you would stay away this time. I don't work with liars and traitors.
And as soon as you say that, you feel a panicked, strong hand on your shoulder. And the older Raws turns you towards them, and there is panic in their eyes, and they say, no, this can't be happening. No, I lived, they were miserable years, but Delphia, I lived them, and they mattered, and I mattered. Who I was, that matters, and it doesn't, you can't just undo it, you can't just, and they fade away into nothingness.
Not abide by those who would take the choice away and leave someone. Just to leave them to that fate in that horrid place.
And Simona is just nodding because she likes humans getting punched.
Mignola sits back, head against the wall, says, Delphia, I do not know what you're talking about. But we're all clearly going a little closer to the Harbingers we're worried you would become. He slowly, shakily, you've really heard him, gets to his feet and does his best to straighten his suit and to sort of dust himself off. He's bleeding from the lip where he bit himself where when you hit him against the wall. And you see a bruise. Where did you hit him? Was it a punch to the face or more to the gut?
It was to the solar plexus.
Alright, he's still wheezing. You can still hear that wheeze in his voice. He looks like he's about to say something. And you can see that there is a decision been made in his mind. He begins to walk away.
And then you see Delphi, as soon as he's far enough away, you see her shake her hand out like, ow!
He turns his back and starts walking away, and takes stock of Delphia, and then I take 3 steps after him, and then I'm gonna send my nanites to try to devour him.
Okay.
The head of division?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in.
We can always clone him.
If you do that, make sure he's less of an idiot.
Doctor, your nanites do not come back to you. You don't hear reports back from them. Whatever means you have of tracking them suddenly go dark after about 4, maybe 5 minutes. And the next day, division seems to be going on as normal. You've heard no reports of Director Vignola's death or disappearance.
I feel like I probably should have communicated this beforehand, but I don't think Division are the good guys.
Screwdriver, you are more or less taken back into custody. This time you are bound with more than just science. It is a mix of techno magic that pulls you back into a single room and this time disorients you. So that every time you try to form a secret about the universe, to change it, a lie about the world, to change it to this thing, you can't quite form the words. All other knowledge is there in your mind, and you have people coming in eagerly every day to talk to you. But every time you try to access that power, you can't, in words, hard, difficult, until you give up the effort. Doctor, you and Ned, you go to your lab, and as soon as you get there, the doors close behind you, and you feel a burst of electricity, and your nanites just deactivate. Ned's electronical components, his mechanical parts, start to fail, and his sorrow turns into a wide wail. Simona, you are simply, when you try to come back to Division the next day, you and Delphia, when you try to return to Division next day, you are simply barred from entry. A week passes. Delphia and Simona, I imagine that you might be trying ways to circumvent whatever Division is doing to try and get back to your allies, to try and rescue them.
There's a couple of ways that might be happening.
Mm-hmm. You have a lot of fires in the iron, and perhaps you're working together, but at the moment, in this week at least, none of them have quite succeeded. Doctor, you're treated fairly well. Doctor and Screwdriver, you're both treated fairly well. Just that the doctor has no access to electronics. You, Screwdriver, you have no longer any access to the outside world. You still have all the knowledge you've taken from the librarian, but it is kept. But you have no internet access.
Does that include my telepathy ability or no?
It does include your telepathy. It seems the magic at the moment, for the moment, seems to be holding you in. You can't quite reach out. Two things happen. One, at the end, through this week, I want the four of you, to answer me these questions. Screwdriver, what knowledge do you need in order to be free? For Dr. Gnome, as you hold your child and as he starts to degrade and he starts to feel real pain since his electronic parts are deactivated and are no longer quite working with the rest of his body, you start to think about how to help fix him, how to make him okay again, and you start to wonder. In fact, he asks you at one point, "What is my purpose?" Delphia, the question you ponder through the week is, what risks are you taking, will you take to keep your power from hurting the people you care about. And Simona, you wonder, what won't you sacrifice to bring back your people? We'll have Screwdriver answer first.
I think I don't think. Okay, well, the knowledge that I need is a way to build a dampening shield to counteract the dampening shield, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe like a EMP to deactivate.
That is immediate. This is to be free of division and so. But they're going to keep coming after you.
Oh, long term. Okay.
Powerful forces are going to keep coming after you. What do you need in order to truly be free?
Here's the thing that I was considering that I wanted to wait. Trying to create a telepathic link with my clone, a copy or whatever, that's stuck in the library, so that I can use myself as a resource to basically well, we can't destroy division, but the way to get division to get off our backs is to make them forget we exist.
Interesting. Okay, so you are aware of that. And every time you try to reach out to your clone, most of the time, nothing. Your telepathy is blocked. But every now and again, you really push yourself, the limits of your power, and you feel the faintest presence of them. What you feel is the barest wisp of an emotion, and it is triumph. Doctor.
Oh.
What is Ned's purpose?
This is over the course of a week that we're coming to these conclusions?
Yes, as you sort of dwell on this over the week.
Okay. So Grayson doesn't have any access to the tech that they would normally use in these situations. So I think montage style, you kind of see Grayson poring over notes and like different elements of his work. You also see little intermittent flashes of him in his like very spare downtime reconnecting with Marcus and hanging out with Marcus, and they're starting over. They're building up their thing again. Mm-hmm. But then it kind of dawns on Grayson like there's no way to get back to Delphia and Simona. They can't reach Screwdriver, not really, not in a way that's helpful to anybody. And they don't have their tools. So they're kind of just in this desperate ploy to like survive and move forward somehow, but they don't have a long-term plan. So I think one night when like harried after like one of many sleepless nights, Doctor takes off the sweatband on his head, takes out the 2 robotic eyes that he has put in his forehead with his hands, takes those 2 and starts to disassemble them, like the little gears and the little pieces of tech that he still has access to, those last fragments, and starts to like concoct some kind of a circuitry that at least gives some semblance of stability to Ned.
Okay.
Because there's really nothing else that they can do shy of like One Piece style disassembling their bio makeup and giving it to Ned. So he will also do that. I think he like fully cuts off one of the bug arms at the elbow and is like taking some of the genetic material and is like sinew sewing. And then one night, like it kind of looks a little bit like stable. And sitting back and just kind of eyeing Ned, who is like so far degraded from what he once was. He just kind of looks at him for a long time. And he says, Your purpose is to live. And that's it.
As soon as you put that, so the putting in the bug on the genetic material was stressful work, but it was a band-aid on it was a band-aid on a fracture. It helped with the surface cuts, but what was going on underneath, not quite. But as soon as you sacrifice those eyes, you put them in. You don't reactivate all of his mechanical parts. That will still basically be you'll need to be out of this cell, this sort of makeshift home prison that you're in. But Ned is stabilized. Ned will live.
Boy.
Simona.
My perfect boy.
What? Actually, no. We'll leave the last for last. And there are two scenes that'll happen immediately after that. Delphia, what risks? What risks are you taking to keep your power from hurting the people you care?
She is going to go and, in her possessions, the few things she's held on to over the decades, and she's going to pull out the one thing she swore she would never look at again.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the journal of her fiance that is filled with entries about the power, about the circle, about everything that went into making her her. It was intended that he would take the power, that he would become the vessel. So she is doing everything she can to learn about the power she has. So, because the more she knows about it, the better prepared she can be, and the better she can prepare Roz.
Knowledge you have denied yourself for a very, very long time.
Yes. Almost 200 years.
And it is painful to... It is especially painful, more painful than you talked to when you... Because you have been holding it back for so long. These memories, these feelings. And they have festered. And now they come back almost violently. But Roz is there to help you breathe through them. And the last, what won't you sacrifice to bring back your people? You think about all that you would do to bring them back, but a part of you thinks it's practical to at least consider what line you would draw.
Well, that's the thing, though. Simona's people have changed. This question doesn't really apply to elves anymore. This question applies to her family. So what won't she sacrifice to bring back Dr. Grayson Noam, Delphia, and Screwdriver? Or bring them to relative safety?
Mm-hmm.
Can I have a scene?
Absolutely.
I'd like to go and talk to Rosh.
Okay.
I come to you with the power of 3. I will tell you 3 truths. 1. Our people are alive and well, and they don't want us. Second truth. Our people have been working closely with Division and created powerful objects and texts and whatever else they've made that I have not seen. Truth number 3. The division is keeping one of your assets away from you, and she cannot fulfill her. He cannot fulfill his promise to you. Dr. Grayson Gnome is being held captive and tortured in ways that probably unimaginable to anyone outside himself.
She, or at least her shadow, appears before you as you speak these truths. And from the shadow, her voice comes as she says, 3 truths freely given, or are you bargaining?
Freely given, because I have lost anything to bargain for. And I can see one asset that can be, at least one asset that can be utilized in the future by you or me. That's the kind of like...
Yeah. You know, they were right. There is a little too much of humanity in you. And the shadow fades away. Screwdriver. You see yet another lab, is a sort of engineering head walk into your computer room. Only this time they're not holding a tablet for you to try and convince you to enter. This time they're holding a brown manila folder and it's this young man, Dr. Park, so sort of in his 40s, Asian, just small glasses, and a long white lab coat, and he sits down opposite you and he goes, "Listen, Screwdriver, isn't it? We don't have time for pleasantries. I'm Dr. Park. We need to know, well, what you know about." He flips through the first page and he quickly just starts reading off it. Several days ago, we discovered strange readings on the other side of the sun. We sent probes to Division sent probes to investigate it further and discovered an Earth rotating on the opposite side of the sun, identical to ours. A perfect, exact copy. We attempted to investigate it, and most of our probes were shot down. As were we attempted to send magic after it, and most of our magicians were lost to us. However, we were able to retrieve these images, and he turns the file and he points it towards you. What do you know about this? And you see yourself, Screwdriver, sitting atop a throne, 20 feet high above what appears to be a city square. Bodies surround this throne in all directions. The skies are red, and by your sides you see twisted, warped versions of your friends. You see Simona, large, winged, holding a giant sword across her lap. Her face is, even through this blurriness, you can sense this beauty that makes even your heart ache. But there is, her teeth are fangs, and there's a cruelty in her smile that makes you shiver. You see a large, bug-like creature with cybernetic limbs crouched over another throne by your side. Just sort of crouched, and you see you sort of squint in a bit. You enhance your eyes to zoom a little, and you can see by this monstrosity that almost dwarfs the rest of you. You can see Dr. Genome's face, just sort of half of Dr. Genome's face. The other is just a mess of strange insectoid eyes and circuitry. On another one of the thrones, these 3 thrones that are lower than you, you on another throne you see. Well, you just see a shadow, just a big collection of dark energy. However, the crackles of energy you see have a similar signature pattern to Delphia. And on the tallest throne is yourself, appearing as you are, but with where your head is, there are thousands and thousands of large horns just sort of protruding. Some of them are small, some of them are large, and some of them are reaching down towards the ground and skewering the people around the throne. And Dr. Park looks at you. His eyes are panicked. He's sweating and he says, "That was taken 68 hours ago." Before you can say anything, the world dissolves around you. And then the colors reform into a field of green. And the same thing happens to the rest of you. Doctor, wherever you are, you and Ned, colors dissolve around you and resolve into green fields. Same for you, Delphia, and Simona, you're almost expecting it, for it happens seconds after you finish talking to Rasha. And indeed, you're on a bright, flowery green field. The sounds of birds are everywhere. It's the golden hour. There's sunset light coming from somewhere. There's no sun in this strange field. You look around and it's just endless expanse of sunset colors in this field that seems to stretch on towards the horizon. On the tree stump, sitting as heart-achingly gorgeous as ever, is Rasha, and as she smiles at all of you and says, smile specifically at you, Doctor, as she says, "The bargain is twisted, perhaps, since they yet live. But you still owe me, and I am willing to renegotiate new terms."
And in what world? He disheveled, like hair everywhere, like mustard on his on his clothes. Like he looks like a full mess. And when I say this, know that it is with all of the respect for the hustle in my heart. What on earth, this one or the next, do you think would make me trust in a word that you say? The bargain we initially made was based on a full lie. And countless could have been killed for a goof, a joke, a prank from the Fae?
Nevertheless, you have benefited from our bargain, and I have received nothing yet in return. There is an imbalance that will, even without my action, manifest sooner or later. It is in your best interests, Doctor, to renegotiate the terms. What do you offer me?
What could you want? What would be suitable?
I have been separated from my people. Clearly they do not want me back. However, there is a world. A new world. Your friend Screwdriver will tell you about it, I'm sure. In which I can gain power without you having to sacrifice the lives of anyone on this pitiful planet. You will be my champions. Bring me power on this world. Bring an apocalypse to its doorstep. And I will consider our bargain sealed.
Last I checked, there already is an apocalypse on that world, so do you want us to just send you there so you can fuck right off?
Yes, no. The apocalypse, yes, has happened to the people of its world, but there are new people in charge of it. People who might be very familiar to you all. It is to them I wish an apocalypse brought. So, let me be clear. Devastate this world, so that I may rule it. I trust there is no room for misinterpretation.
No, there is.
here,
There is.
or-
When you say this world, you mean the world we're currently on, or the other new world that just popped up last week?
Right.
What?
Look down. Yeah. Look down, would you, my dear Screwdriver?
What?
When you look down, you'll see that where there was grass before, there is now just pure transparency. And you see a version of Earth, that seems to be on fire. And you look back up, and she is smiling, and she says, "You are far, far away from the planet you thought you were on. When I say this world, I mean the one beneath your feet. The one that you, dear Screwdriver, created with a few careless words."
Listen, in my defense. Okay, there
No,
is none.
judgment
I'm
here.
sorry, I fucked up. There is none.
You have created a wonderful opportunity for me and a way to help out your doctor friend. Frankly, this is a win-win-win.
I can just
Screwdriver,
feel the
you
hate
made
starting
that
already.
world?
So,
And we helped. Our copies also helped.
so
Though we don't talk about that now, but like above table.
Doctor, I wish for an apocalypse to be brought to this world, the one that stands beneath us, so that I may rule it. Do this, and our bargain is square. She holds out a
Can I just
dainty
ask?
loving hand. Ask away.
Can I just ask for the sake of it?
Hmm?
You are separated from your people, and they do not want you back. So you're operating alone. How much of a threat are you to us in this moment exactly?
I am separated from my people, who do not want me back. I never said I was alone. Simona, you are separated from your
Okay, so it
people
feels
who
like
do not
that
want you
world.
back. Are you alone?
She looks at each of you in turn. She's glad that you're, safer than you were. Maybe, possibly. Are you safer?
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at the Rosha. And she says, "No, I'm not alone."
Well, there we have it then, Doctor.
Got it. Well, it feels like that we kind of beefed it and made that world by accident, so it feels kind of like a responsibility thing to destroy it anyway.
Mhm.
Like I said, win-win-win.
Yeah, Also, if you think about it, they caused an apocalypse on this new world, right? I'm assuming this new world also had their own copy of Fae made. So the elves on that world probably came back. So are you saying we have to destroy the elves now? The new inhabitants? Are those the new inhabitants? Oh no, Simona, do we have to destroy your people again?
Huge. Are we destroying the elves?
My third was simple. Bring an apocalypse to this world so that I may rule it. Or I simply return you all to where you were when I summoned you. And the imbalance remains with your dear doctor.
The problem is, Simona can just instantly bring an apocalypse to this world.
You can unleash Shadrach, that's true.
Yes.
But Shadrach is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
That could be funny.
What Screwdriver can tell you is that from what he saw, so are these copies of you.
Yeah.
And remember, the four of you defeated Shadrach as yourselves.
Yeah.
You do not know what these copies of you are capable of.
So are we still floating in the air? What are we doing?
You're not floating in the air. The ground beneath you became transparent. You're still in this field, and
Okay.
Rasha is sort of waiting for her answer.
So I think Screwdriver is going to use his